What's up, guys? It's Jay, MorninAfterKill, and I'm back here with some more Borderlands pre-sequel news and information. If you haven't been following my channel or Borderlands news in general, the Borderlands pre-sequel is a brand new standalone Borderlands game that takes place between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 and puts you in control of 4 previously non-playable characters such as Wilhelm from Borderlands 2, Athena from the General Knox DLC, Nisha the Lawbringer, who happens to be the sheriff of motherfucking Lynchwood, and then we have good old Clappy. We have Claptrap as a playable character for the first time in any Borderlands games, and we will be playing as these characters to help Jack rise to power of the Hyperion Company. And this game comes out later this year, October 14th for America and October 17th for the rest of the world. And today we are taking a look at Athena's final skill tree, which is called the Ceraunic Storm. Now, this skill tree is elemental based and works sort of like a mix between Gage's Anarchy and Zero's Critical Ascension, but it starts out more like Gage's skill tree, where the first 2 skills are 4 and 1 skill point based, and you have to go and inspect into both of these skills to be able to move on down the skill tree. So, the first skill on the tree is a 1-of-1 skill called Maelstrom. Now, Maelstrom will allow you to build stacks when you deal fire or shock damage to enemies. All elemental damage is increased per stack of Maelstrom and decay over time. The more stacks that you have, the faster they decay. You get 0.35% per stack of Maelstrom for elemental damage increase. So this feels like a mix between, like I said, Anarchy and Zero's Critical Ascension, since Critical Ascension makes your stacks decay with time, whereas Anarchy, the stacks would only decay if you reload. So the second skill that is required to move on through the skill tree is called Storm Weaving. Now, quite simply, Storm Weaving gives you extra elemental effect chance and fire rate from swapping weapons. Now, this only lasts for 7 seconds, and maxed out, it will give you 200% elemental effect chance, but also, on top of that, you're gonna gain a 30% fire rate increase when you max this out to 4 out of 4 skill points, which the 200% elemental effect and 30% fire rate increase is pretty goddamn significant, if I say so myself. So, even though it only lasts for 7 seconds, swapping weapons at this point in the Borderlands franchise, it's pretty much standard affair when you're moving through different elements, so it makes sense that you're probably going to have a bunch of different elements at your disposal, most likely a freeze weapon and also fire or shock, since we're pretty much working around fire and shock in the Ceraunic skill tree. That's what this is all about. It's about fire and lightning coming together to just fuck shit up. So, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next tier down. We have Conduit, which, as long as you have at least 1 electrocute status effect active on an enemy, you will regain a percentage of your shield every second for each stack of Maelstrom that you have. So this is actually really kind of cool, because if you had like a Tesla or a Stormfront style area of effect shock grenade, it makes a lot of sense that you would be able to use that to gain your shields back, sort of like how we do already to gain our health back with a Moxie weapon in an area of effect grenade. It seems like a shock Tesla mod would probably be a very good choice for this skill tree. So, to the left of that skill, we have Gathering Tempest, which increases magazine size, reload speed. It's nothing really impressive, but could be useful, especially if you're using like a bandit. I'm sorry. Bandit doesn't exist on the moon. We're gonna be using Scav, quote unquote, for scavenger, like bandit, scavenger, yeah. Anyway, Scav manufacturer weapons that have, like, you know, huge magazines, and you're gonna wanna not reload very often, so having extra reload speed probably helped that out just a little bit. Especially one of my subscribers have said on my video, I'm gonna put this joke in here. He said, imagine, since Freeze is the new Slag, if they brought back the Slagga, but called it the Frieza, and then had like a Dragon Ball Z Easter egg reference into red text. And I was like, that's pretty clever, you little clever fucks. So, gonna move on to the next skill. We have Smite! I played Smite the other day. If you haven't checked those videos out, check them out. I'm having a little bit of fun playing Smite recently. But we have Smite, which simply shooting an enemy in the air will cause fire and shock damage area of effect. And the more stacks of Maelstrom you have built up, the stronger the AoE has. And this skill has a 12-second cooldown and requires you to have at least 10 Maelstrom stacks already built up to proc. So that seems like it's going to be a very useful skill, especially since this game, you're going to have low gravity. You're going to be in the air quite often, so having an aerial attack like that is probably, hopefully, going to be pretty useful. Unlike, you know, Gage's really, really broken Death from Above skill. So, anyway, moving on. Next we come across to Unrelenting, which is actually the first kill skill inside of this skill tree. So, killing an enemy will activate this skill, and it increases your weapon swap speed and fire rate for each stack of Maelstrom. So I want to go ahead and back this up just for a little bit, because this will no doubt upgrade and work in conjunction with the Storm Weaving skill that we've already spec'd into earlier in the tree, and it will help not only keeping up your elemental effect and fire rate bonuses, but it also adds extra fire rate on top of what Storm Weaving is already giving you, an extra 30% fire rate bonus. This seems like you're gonna be able to get a fire rate on par with maybe Hellbourne Creek? What? That would be absolutely amazing, considering the fact that you'd be able to sit behind her shield with that type of fire rate. Can you imagine? I want to imagine. Oh yeah. I would imagine getting all up in there nice and deep like. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on, because if that's not enough for you, the next skill is Elemental Barrage. And it gives you a chance that while Storm Weaving is active for those 7 seconds, to not consume any ammo while shooting. And this chance is increased for every Maelstrom stack. What the fuck is a Maelstrom? For every Maelstrom stack you have, the chance is increased. So if you've ever played as a Gunzerker in Borderlands 2, you know how valuable not consuming ammo on a shot can be in the middle of a heated firefight, especially if you have the amazing fire rate bonus that Storm Weaving and Unrelenting can provide to you, especially if you have a lot of stacks built up. Seems like Athena is gonna be absolutely amazing. I like the fact that 2K is kind of balancing out the scaling in the game. That's kind of a little bit off, because Gearbox, don't get on my fucking case. All right, Gearbox makes a great game. They can't balance it for shit. And it seems like 2K is stepping in here and balancing out this game with some really awesome skills. It's gonna leave you feeling like the badass that you were in Borderlands 1, and not like the piece of shit that gets kicked around all over Pandora in Borderlands 2. Even though you can get pretty strong in Borderlands 2, you kind of have to limit what you use. Because, I mean, at OP8, everybody's using Sandhawks and Heralds. Everybody's using Sandhawks, Heralds, and Grog Nozzles. And the Northfleet. There you go. I just filled out your entire inventory for every motherfucking character at OP8. So, anyway, that's not the topic of the commentary. Let's go ahead and get back into this, skill tree breakdown preview extravaganza. Because the two skills to the left of Elemental Barrage are both focused on giving Athena's Aspis shield some extra elemental damage. So first off, we have Superconductor, which gives the Aspis a chance to shock enemies when you're hit by it. And when you're hit by it, this also gains you extra stacks of Maelstrom. And to the right, we have Zeus's Rage, which when you throw the Aspis, a devastating fire and lightning storm will spawn at the target location, do an area of effect damage over time for a few seconds. The amount of damage the Aspis already has soaked up is what determines how strong the elemental area of effect storm will be. So, yeah, we've already talked about having extreme fire rate and soaking up damage with your shield. Now that you're doing that, you can toss your shield at them and cause fucking damage over time all over the place with the AoE lightning storm. And it's a firestorm too. I can't wait to see this, especially, oh my god, on PC with PhysX. I can't wait to see this skill tree in action, fully specced out at end game. It's gonna be a sight to behold. But honestly, I'm actually pretty surprised to see Athena made it this far into a skill tree, and we're just now seeing one skill that deals with her shields, which makes me think that you might be able to live without these skills. Although, I do like that Superconductor allows you to build stacks with the shield attack. It all depends on how the damage over time affects enemies in this game at higher levels, but that remains to be seen. Like I said, I am trying to remain positive because it's possible that 2K could have revamped the entire balance system inside of this game, or like I said, is balancing it out with extra powerful skills. So I'm hoping to see that, you know, the damage over time is maybe not as strong as Borderlands 1, but a healthy balance between Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. And that would make a really good, I guess, compliment to the series, because you got Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, you got the pre-sequel, so why not strike a balance between both games in the middle? I think that's what the community really wants to see. So, anyway, we're moving right along into Flash Freeze, which this is very basic, but can be useful if you manage to build up a huge amount of stacks. But freezing an enemy with this skill will allow you to stop losing or gaining any stacks that you already have built up. Now, I could see this being kind of like a double-edged sword though, because if you're in an area with a lot of enemies, this can actually probably hurt you by not gaining any more stacks if you're really fucking some shit up. But I could see it also helping you out if you're in an area lacking on enemies and, you know, your stacks are in danger of decaying out and you kind of want to make sure that you can get to the next area of enemies to build them back up. So it all depends how the actual game is built and the maps are laid out, if there's a huge area in between where you're at and, you know, the next camp of mobs are. But either way, Flash Freeze has nothing to do with the next two skills, which seem to be the synergetic skills at the bottom half of the skill tree. You remember I talked about before, like, you know, Athena's melee skills, they have very good synergy at the end. Her tank tree has very good synergy. And also, Wilhelm Cyber Commando with that whole trifecta of the last three skills working. That's how these next two skills are gonna pretty much be. So, first off, we're gonna take a look at Overload, which, whenever you kill an enemy that is burning or electrocuted, there is a chance that the status effect will chain to a nearby enemy. You gain bonus Maelstrom stacks, and the stacks you gain are doubled if the enemy is burning and electrocuted at the same time. Now, the amount of bonus stacks you gain are 20 stacks at the first level, which means if this happens once and they're both dotted with fire and electrocution at the same time, you can easily gain 40 stacks of Maelstrom from one enemy kill, which is pretty amazing in itself. I wonder exactly if Maelstrom does have a static, I guess, how do you say that? A stack cap? A static stack cap! Try saying that like 5 fucking times fast. I bet you can't. That's why sometimes I don't edit shit out, because you can't say that. But anyway, when you pair this with her Capstone, Hades Shackles, you get the ability to link to your enemies with a shock tether, kind of like the one that Chief, whatever the fuck his name is, when you're fighting Vora, you know how he tethers to you with a shock tether? Yes, that is pretty much what's going to be happening here. When you use your ass slam on the enemies, it's going to tether every enemy that you hit with that slam. Now, if you remain in line of sight with the enemy, the chain will remain tethered, but if you don't see them or they can't see you, the chain is broken. The tether lasts for 3 seconds, and any enemies that are still linked after that 3 seconds, or if they die during that 3 seconds, they will release a fire nova, and you gain bonus Maelstrom stacks. God damn! So this skill has a 15-second cooldown duration, but you gain 20 stacks for every target that's linked, which, in turn, after the shock and nova blast, if any enemy dies from that, they're gonna have a chance to proc overload, which will chain the status effects to any enemies left, and if they die, it will create a cycle of elemental death, which should give you enough time to just sit back and watch it happen while you wait for Hades' shackles to cool down so you can do it again. It kind of sounds like a fire and shock version of Krieg's Blood Explosion, which is kind of funny because she also has an exploding elemental skill in her, her melee tree, where enemies pretty much explode when you hit them with that bleed shit. So I think that's actually pretty cool, but in my opinion, I want to see how this works when you factor in that you can combine this with Athena's shield tank tree, and you just kind of sit back, soak up damage with the shield, and unleash hell on earth in the form of fire, brimstone, and lightning. I don't think brimstone has anything to do with it, but it sounds kind of cool, doesn't it? It's like fire, brimstone, the Undertaker, bong. So, anyway, not bad, Athena, not bad. So, my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys rate, comment, and subscribe. If you could leave a thumbs up on the video, I'd highly appreciate it because it gives me motivation to make more videos for you motherfuckers that watch my motherfucking videos. This is absolutely amazing sounding, the way that they've built out this tree. And like I said, I can't wait to see it, especially when you combine physics with all of this. And the animations that they have look pretty brutal for people being set on fire and electrocuting and acid and all that. So can't wait to see it. And you shouldn't be able to wait to see it either. You're just I wanna fucking see it. So, like I said, my name's Jay, MorninAfterKill. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys later.